Welcome to episode 206 of the All the Book Show, recorded at my house.
That's right.
In the middle of the street.
Typically from the David A. Howe Public Library, but not today.
We talk book news, author news, and literary news. What you just heard was our normal theme song, but played live on the acoustic by Ben Lehmann.
Hello, everyone.
That's Ben Lehmann.
Welcome.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta say, Ben, I say it on the show all the time, but I really do love that theme song, so thank you for providing it for us.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Eric's not so kind, but I love it. I think it's great.
Your author spotlight creeps me out to this day.
Yeah,
so.
he's a little scared by it.
Some of those I, don't really know what I'm
Spotlight.
doing.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well,
I'm Eric Michaels.
And I'm Nick Gunning, and it makes perfect sense to have the live music today because music is the theme of our show.
Oh my gosh, it is.
We're going to be talking about what you listen to when you read. Really, we're going to be talking about what we listen to when we read, but that's where the conversation begins.
And ends.
Okay. All right. No, it doesn't end because this is part one of a 3-part series that we're doing on music. So, Eric, why don't you give us a little bit of a background on that?
Our main segment will be on the music we listen to while we read.
Yes.
But as will become apparent when I start talking about the music I listen to while I read, there's a certain type of music that's very important when I read, which is Overclocked Remix, the website, which provides video game remixes. So we interviewed Lion Tamer, who helps run the site itself, on all about Overclocked Remix and its history and a bunch of intricate parts and how some of the remixes went on. You'll be able to hear that next. And then at the end of the week, we're going to have a pretty sweet playlist of some Overclocked remixes. That should be a lot of fun. A lot of different songs on there as an example of some of the songs I listen to.
Much like our Spider-Man trilogy of episodes, you're listening to the episode proper, followed by 2 off-the-books episodes, which will be coming to you this week, right? We're going to put them all
This was the excitement we were all experiencing in like 2000, 2001 when DVDs were putting out all those special features.
Yes.
We had a director's commentary. We had a behind the scenes, a casting. Remember the casting scenes? Like, Hugh Jackman's really bad in his audition.
Yeah, so. I know you're joking, but I was actually very excited about Groundhog Day because I've seen that movie like 600 times. And on the Blu-ray, they had like never before seen deleted scenes, and they were all bad.
Yeah.
But I was seeing more Groundhog Day, and it was very exciting.
It was a crazy time.
Yeah,
we just wanted more. And then it became too much.
It was, yeah.
So.
Yeah, now it's sort of stripped back down.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's not what we're talking about.
No.
So we're going to dig into the music.
What DVD extras do you watch while you read?
That's right, but now I think it's time to turn to our bookmark segment.
Hit it, Ben!
All right, boys, let's see how this goes. Bookmark!
I love it. It's even better live. Funny thing about this. Funny thing about this bit of music, I usually listen to the podcast, but I'm like way behind, so I'll just kind of go back and listen to old episodes.
Right.
I didn't know that Eric had been putting this music in for like weeks and weeks and weeks until finally he like mentioned it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I just put it in thinking like, oh, this will be, I won't tell Nick that Ben sent this, will just be a surprise, but you were so behind, I got too impatient. I'm like, do you not care? So.
All right, well.
I've been waiting forever for a message from Nick saying,
I'm sorry. Well, I do like it. It's a nice addition.
It makes him cry.
Yeah, I tear up.
I have to cut it out normally.
I tear up. If you're new to the podcast, the bookmark segment is when we talk about where we are in our reading, what we've been reading, and sometimes it bleeds over into movies and games and concerts as well. So,
was that a segue for you to talk about how you saw the Rolling Stones?
It wasn't, but I'll take it. Yes, my friend Steve Rudd and I saw the Rolling Stones on their first date in East Rutherford, New Jersey at the MetLife Stadium. This concert was rescheduled. It was supposed to be back in June, but Mick Jagger's heart issues led to the concert being pushed way back. So luckily, we still made it. We got there.
Was his heart issue due to, or because of, or the lack thereof chemicals?
I think it's because he can't get no satisfaction, and so he just...
Satisfaction is a type of prescribed drug he has to take to balance out everything.
I guess so. But we are planning a special concert overview episode in the coming weeks because we're doing so many summer concerts this time. So we actually did record a segment at the Rolling Stones concert that will be played later on. So I'm going to just give you the highlights. Our seats were really far back, but it was dead center in the auditorium, so we had like a perfect view. So it was great. It was. I don't want to give too much away because we did talk about it extensively, but they had a great set. I would have liked a little bit more like inside story, a little bit more band chatter. I would have liked some slow down songs, but overall, it was a great experience. It was
Ruby Tuesday.
Yeah, Ruby Tuesday. I would have liked. Actually, They did do She's a Rainbow,
Okay.
which was that was for me one of the highlights because it was a vote song. People voted on what they wanted, and that one came up. So it's kind of a deep cut. But anyway, it was kind of surreal to be actually like seeing the Rolling Stones being the Rolling Stones.
Right.
But yeah, it was a really good experience. My wife and I also saw Sarah McLachlan at Art Park, which was fun, especially for her. She loves that. And then you.
So
what did you
Goo
see?
Goo Dolls and Train.
Goo Goo Dolls and Train.
With my wife and your wife. Because your wife's
right.
a huge Goo Goo Dolls fan.
She
and
is.
so is my wife all of a sudden.
She is.
Like the past few years.
Yeah.
When I first met Kendra, she hated the 90s
Yeah.
in terms of music.
Well.
And I think it's a Nightingale
there's
situation.
no place for hating. Did you say a Nightingale syndrome?
Yeah, what did I mean? Mockingjay?
I know what you mean.
When you're trapped in a hospital
Yeah.
and the nurse falls in love with you. Mockingjay.
No, it's not. You said Nightingale, and now I can't get
Yeah.
over it. Stockholm syndrome.
It's a
is what you
Stockholm
mean.
syndrome with the 90s music. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's a Sadie Hawkins
I
situation.
see. Okay.
Did the Rolling Stones play Heartbreaker? Do.
No.
Okay, that would have been one I would wanted to hear.
No.
Did
No,
they
they
play
didn't.
Can't You Hear Me? Can You Hear Me Knocking?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Are those like deep cuts that I?
I don't.
Thought
You know.
were
I
like-
don't think so. They just have such a vast catalog. for the
Oh,
last
did they play
50
that one
years.
song that their newer song that you love? The
Like Blue and Lonesome? And all
no,
that? They didn't
Don't
play anything?
Stop.
No, they didn't, and I wanted them to. But they did do some things I was excited
Okay.
about. But you'll find all of that in our upcoming concert-themed episodes.
All right.
I don't want to get into it too much. Ben, you seen any concerts lately?
Not recently, no.
Oh, this is embarrassing. Should have vetted him before we had him on the show.
Yeah.
Ben, why don't you go first? What have you been reading? What's lately going on for you?
Currently, I'm reading 2 books. I'm reading...
Well,
I know, with such
Yeah,
esteemed
real-
library
real
As
professor.
soon as we
braggart.
start recording it
Real
live, it got
braggart.
real
Yeah.
showmanship here.
No, right now I'm reading Carry On by Rainbow Rowell.
Oh, okay.
This is my second time trying to read the book after trying to listen to the audiobook.
okay.
Isn't it like 800 pages? It's huge.
It's a little over 500.
Oh my gosh.
It's not terrible. It still feels a lot of like, hey,
Sure.
we're pretending. This is Harry Potter,
Yeah,
kind of, you know.
Yeah.
And so she's so charming that like it makes it
Goodness.
like that's what she has in spades
Right.
when she writes.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
like that's the way I've been.
Is it funny?
I mean, it's had a couple of moments that I've been like, okay, that kind of works for me. But it's still, you know, it's like, hey, it's sort of Harry Potter, but not Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But then also, like, she definitely wants you to know that this is taking place in the UK. Like,
Right.
every page there's, like, one
Okay.
reference. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you're from
Right, we
Nebraska.
get it, we get it.
Yeah, we know.
Okay.
And then I've been slowly chipping away at a book by Bill Bryson.
I don't know that author.
Short... shoot, what is it called? A Short History of Nearly Everything? Something like that. It's a nonfiction.
I see.
But yeah, it's just sort of chapter by chapter history of the universe kind of deal.
Interesting.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it, but you know, I can
Have you
only
learned
read
anything
so
about
much at a
the
time.
universe
I
that you
can.
didn't already know?
I mean, a lot of it. It's meant to be a layman's guide to science.
Ben Lehmann's Guide to Science.
Yeah, you know.
Thank you for that,
Someone
Nick.
had
For
to.
those who aren't watching the stream, Nick pointed at Ben.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
just wanted to
It
help
took me a
him
brief
out.
second.
I wanted to help him out.
It's like, Ben, yeah? Beard?
So you would think I would have learned everything since
Yeah,
that's
your
my
name.
namesake.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I want to mention for more on Rainbow Rowell, you can check out our whole Rainbow Rowell spotlight.
That was forever ago.
I know. SoundCloud.com/allthebooks. Carry
That
on.
was our first All the Books night.
Was it?
At your house?
I think you're right.
I think so.
Way back in the day. Yeah.
Set up on a card table in your living room.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
homebrewed.
That was our Steve Jobs Wozniak in the garage kind of situation.
Exactly. Carry On is actually the only of her novels that I haven't read.
It's her
and
biggest novel. It's
I know,
ridiculous.
I know. And
That
I
surprises
liked,
me.
I liked Fangirl, but the Carry On portions of Fangirl were my absolute least favorite parts. So I just haven't had
rough.
the urge to pick up what is essentially like Harry Potter fanfiction.
It's interesting though because we also just talked to Lauren James last episode.
Yeah.
And she has a fake TV show in there. And I completely
book,
forgot
Loneliest
to
Girl
ask
Universe,
her.
yeah.
I wanted to know like if she was planning to do anything more with that.
Yeah, I wondered that too. I wonder what that was based on. If you haven't picked up The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James, please do so and then go back and listen to the episode we interviewed with her. My brother, Steve, contributor to the All the Book Show, started the episode and stopped when you said like we're gonna spoil it because he was so intrigued by the book. So I would suggest you do
haven't.
read the book before you listen to the Lauren James interview. But anyway, what about you, Eric? What have you been reading?
I haven't read anything. I've been so busy.
It's been a crazy busy week.
Yeah, with work and real life. It's just been, not that work isn't real life.
I understand.
It's just been, I haven't had like too much time to read anything. So like at night, I've just been or at lunch, I've just been reading some comics. And so like I finished Essential X-Men Volume 10.
Wow.
And so I've got one more of
Making
that.
your way.
Yeah, I'm probably going to keep with it because eventually I'll get to some comics I have read.
Okay.
But then I'll get to Executioner Song, which I only read pieces of because I was only reading Uncanny and regular non-adjective X-Men. And so... that's all I read. It's fun.
Okay.
It's Claremont.
What years are you reading now?
This is like 1990,
Oh, okay.
91-ish. I think it's like 89, 90 here. Chris Claremont, you would be able to say during most of his X-Men run that if you just read the dialogue without knowing who was talking, you would know who's talking because of how he writes the dialogue. But later on in his career, he gets real repetitive with things. He does a thing where he'll say like a 2-word sentence and repeat it. He's like, my choice, my responsibility. That kind of like structure. Yeah. And every character will say something like that. And they also all say, bang, you're dead. All the time.
Really?
Yes. And they won't even be characters who like talk to each other. Like Lady Deathstrike says it at one point. I know Gambit will say it later on.
Like in a serious...
Yeah, they'll hit each other or attack somebody and somebody will be like, bang, you're dead. And it's all the time. I'm like, how does every character...
It's like a drinking game for him.
Yeah,
how many times can he get in bang,
dead.
You're dead?
You'd be dead. So that's really it. I got Descender, which I had talked about last week.
Okay.
That's like sci-fi robot boy graphic novel from Image Comics. It's only 6 volumes. I thought it was still going, but it's over. So I just grabbed the next 4 volumes. So I'm going to read all that. Apparently it has a sequel series, Ascender. I didn't know about that.
What are you going to do?
I don't know.
Okay. I read a few things. I read The House on Mango Street for our Around the World book club, which probably too late to join the book club now. But after that, we're reading a novel called Asunder. We're focusing on Mexican authors, so that's and the final in that series is Like Water for Chocolate. So we're doing those over the next couple of months as we record, and we're going to meet over at the Wellsville Creative Arts Center.
For some chocolate right now.
So anyway, House on Mango Street is a classic. I mean, it's one that is well known. I think I read my copy was like the 25th anniversary edition or something like that. But it's really a series of vignettes, and it's kind of it's deceptive in its style because it's written from a younger person's perspective, and it starts with a lot of optimism, but the more you read, the more like, I don't know, the more like negativity and unhappiness sort of creeps in it, and it's almost like the character is not aware that it's happening. So in some ways it kind of pulls a rug out from under you, and by the end you're like, geez, that was bleak. So it was not what I was expecting, but I think it's going to make for a good discussion in the book club.
Chris Claremont's X-Men kind of had that effect on me.
Yeah.
I was feeling the same way back with the Inferno run. I was like, boy, some light, please. Anything?
Yeah.
But you finished it.
I did.
It's a quick read, right? It's only like...
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't recommend the audiobook. I read a few graphic novels. Wolverine First Class, Wolverine by Night, written by Fred Van Lente. So,
yeah, this is the one where he turns into a werewolf.
Yes, he does. Yeah, so go back and listen to our Fred Van Lente interview if you haven't heard that so far. This is also the first time I've read anything about Shang-Chi. So, you know,
there you go.
With Marvel announcing the new movie coming out, this is like my introduction. I had also never read any of Marvel's Jack Russell, like Wolfman. What is it, Werewolf by Night?
Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
I'd not read that character either, so it was my introduction to both of those. Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I think the Wolverine First Class series is just kind of it's just a fun read. You know what I mean? Like, you're not really going for a lot of depth or anything like that. It's just a quick, like a breezy read, so I enjoyed that. The final one I read, this is going to be hard for all of us to talk about, I know, but I read Itty Bitty Mask by Art Baltazar and Franco, and they do a lot in this style. And this is basically taking the concept of the mask from the Dark Horse comics, from the movie.
The Jim Carrey film,
Yeah. And it's a new character. It's a zookeeper gets the mask and hilarity ensues.
What fun.
It was actually fun. I read this, I'm sorry guys, I have to bring this up. I read this because Eric asked me to join him on his podcast, 3 Nice Things, where we look at a terrible movie and try to come up with 3 nice things. Ben was also on that.
Yep.
I was.
And we watched, I can't even, Son of the Mask.
You don't say that name! Sorry. You don't say that name in my house!
Starring, plug your ears.
How dare you.
Starring Jamie Kennedy.
Oh,
and this was, I know you don't like this word, Eric, but this was a turd.
I do hate that word. It's gross.
This was a turd of a film.
It's one of the worst.
So we watched
podcast.
it, and then we recorded it, and then we somehow came up with 3 nice things about this,
we all
and
did.
it was next to impossible.
Yeah,
I honestly think it may be the worst movie I've ever seen.
I think so too.
Like,
I think so too.
If not, it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said that about Battlefield Earth, but I think somehow Son of the Mask actually did do that.
They're
But
all bad in their own ways.
They are.
But yeah,
They
Son
are.
of the Mask was something else. Son of the Mask was painful bad.
That's true. I didn't leave Battlefield Earth feeling like upset, but I actually was a little disturbed by Son of the Mask. Anyway, don't ever watch the movie.
Right.
Don't ever watch the movie.
Sure,
But if you want to listen to Eric, Ben, and I discuss it, you can find it where?
At the All the Book... Oh, wait. No, that's us. That's what we're doing
that's
right
us
now.
right now, yeah.
You can find it at radiomeanwhile.com. It's called 3 Nice Things on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube.
Okay. Anywhere you podcast, you can listen to us talk about that.
Are we going to do an episode later where you just describe Itty Bitty Mask in full
as
detail?
I did with Battlefield Earth. No, but I will say...
Did Itty Bitty Mask start a religion?
No, it didn't. But I did enjoy Itty Bitty Mask.
Okay.
I think it's a good use of Art Baltazar and Franco's style.
Right.
It's a fun take on the character. If you're a fan of The Mask and wanted to read the comics, you should know that the originals
I never read them.
Crazy graphic violence and not at all Jim Carrey. This was a little bit more... with the spirit of the movie or the cartoon, as people are more familiar with it. So anyway, those are the things I read. I am currently reading the Star Trek book that I mentioned last week, Paths of Disharmony by Dayton Ward, part of the Typhon Pact. This is taking me a long time because it's dull. So we'll see if I make it through.
Well,
you
were just talking to me in the car today about Star Trek novels and how you're kind of having to maybe adjust your brain to thinking about them because the Picard show is coming out.
Right. Ben, have you seen Next Generation? Are you a Star Trek?
I've seen a good portion, but it's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, what Eric and I were talking about in the car was back when Force Awakens came out, Star Wars, it was like kind of the end of the expanded universe for Star Wars because it didn't adapt any of that, and it was just sort of like, forget all
Disney
that.
started putting out their own book series.
Here's the new thing.
New continuity.
And for years, decades really, Star Trek was never a continued story. Pocket books, when they published it, didn't allow any recurring characters or anything like that, so it had to be a very standalone thing. Well, within the last maybe 10 years, Star Trek has really worked into a really specific timeline. So all of the novels fit together. There's a reading order, all of that. They have specific authors that they use. Our past guest David Dvorkin mentioned that even if you wanted to write a new Star Trek book, they have a set of people that they use. So anyway, I've been following those, but now I think the Picard show is really going to put a fork into all of those. I doubt that they'll continue to release new stories that conflict with what you're seeing.
Picard and Beverly Crusher are married.
Yeah, in the books, Picard and Beverly are married. They have a son. Riker and Deanna are married. They have a daughter. They have this whole set.
That's probably all gone for the
and
show.
I think the Picard show is going to do it, and I can't imagine that they would allow this timeline to continue in book form while Picard is kind of blazing new paths. So I'm all for the new show, but I am a little sad if this means the end of the Star Trek expanded universe as we know it. But I won't have a problem like I had with the Star Wars expanded universe, where I accidentally read the very last book, Crucible by Troy Denning,
and didn't know
that it was the end of all of that, all of the decades of reading that.
I was just telling Ben that happened with me with Community. I thought I had 2 episodes left, but I didn't. I just had the last episode, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, is this show ending? Is it ending?
Yeah.
So
you can find more on the Star Wars expanded universe in our Star Wars. What is it called? The Expanded Universe Strikes Back.
Yeah, so
early on with Amanda Smith
and Star Trek.
Library. We do have a Star Trek episode. Yeah, All the Books Beyond. It's called.
Your brother.
Is he in that? Yeah, that's right. He is. That's who he is. Yeah. So anyway, you can find all that. But
who would be who? You'd be you. Of course, you're going to cast yourself as Kirk.
Well, come on.
So, am I Spock? Or my Bones? I feel like I'm grumpy.
The least logical person that I know.
So I'm Bones because I'm grumpy.
You could be Bones. You could be.
So
Bones.
Your brother is Spock, but he has crazy. I mean, I guess that makes sense because he's got crazy taste in movies.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All right, Steve could be Spock. Sure. Ben could be Wesley Crusher since he's young.
Shut up, Ben.
All right, but in other, I guess this is more book news.
Oh.
So should we transition into book news now?
Yeah, Ben, hit it.
Sorry, I don't have a.
Oh, there's no book news theme.
Sorry, sorry guys.
They have announced that IDW is putting out a Picard graphic novel that's a prequel to the show. And Una McCormick, who has written several Star Trek books, including some of the Discovery books, is going to be writing a Picard prequel novel that's going to set up the new show.
Okay.
So those things are happening right now.
But you're not going to read it
I'm
because you're
really
worried
on the
it might
fence.
ruin it.
Let me take a poll. Do you guys think that I should read the stuff that's set up to the Picard series before the show, or just let the show be on its own?
Yeah, that's rough.
They're putting it out. I mean, it's meant to be a lead up, you know?
I don't know, man.
So something like this, for the J.J. Abrams reboot, there was a graphic novel called Star Trek Countdown that really set up that movie well. And I think I liked the movie more because I'd read that. It was like sort of indispensable. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's always a gamble that you're going to have to take because you're not going to know until...
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't, but
You
I don't.
wouldn't,
I
Eric?
wouldn't, but
Yeah, I tend to read a prequel comic after the thing.
Okay.
So I read like all the X-Men movie prequel things, but after I had seen the movie.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Listeners, feel free to chime in on this at the All the Book Show on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to do a Twitter
He's
poll.
going to do a poll.
I'm going to do a Twitter poll.
I was about to suggest
It's going to happen.
Me too. Yeah.
Do you have the New York Times bestseller list?
I sure do.
Over at your house?
Yeah.
All right. We kind of got away from this for a while, Ben, just with other things happening. And when we went back, it was like all new stuff. So it was like Christmas. All right, take it away, Eric. What's
all
on the
right.
New
So
York
this
Times
is the New York
bestseller
Times
list?
bestsellers list for hardcover fiction. All right. So number 10 is Ask Again, Yes by Mary Beth Crean. The lives of a neighboring families in New York City suburb intertwine over 4 decades.
Oh.
Yeah. So kind of like
generational.
Yeah, like Family Matters.
With Urkel.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were talking Family Matters before we started recording.
Yeah,
and,
we were.
Uh,
Do people still know Urkel? Twitter poll?
they still know who Sonic the Hedgehog is.
That's true, and what he looks like.
Yeah. Well,
We'll see. We'll see when they redo it.
the reason we bring that up is because Urkel voiced Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, he did.
So.
And they're redesigning Sonic the Hedgehog in the Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah.
So it all comes
connected.
together.
Yep.
Jim Carrey was in the mask.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody stop me. Go on.
Number 9, City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. An 80-year-old Vivian Morris looks back at the direction her life took when she entered the 1940s New York theater scene. Ben, how was the 1940s theater scene?
Yeah, what was it like for you?
oh, it was full of I don't know lights, camera, action.
Huh. Okay. Wow, you're successful.
Yeah.
You had success.
Good for you.
I can't believe you put it on the spot like that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I was ready to
You're
jump
gonna have to.
I was
You
ready
have to do
jump
some
in.
editing,
All right,
Eric.
Go ahead.
Number 8, Window on the Bay by Debbie Mccumber. A single
yeah.
mom's life takes an unexpected turn when her 2 children go off to college. How unexpected is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
gonna
Well,
say, just like
I
life.
think that kids go off to college and then an unexpected turn happens.
Oh.
Fun fact, I met Debbie Mccumber at the ALA conference when I got her to sign a copy of Cottage by the Sea. She was surprised and delighted that a younger man was in her line instead of her regular crowd.
Yeah.
So, she was very polite.
I'm glad for you.
Yeah, that's all.
So you call her Debs now?
yeah.
The
Yeah,
Debster.
Debbie M.
Debbie
Yeah.
M. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
7. Oh, nope, number 8. I skipped a whole... No, wait. Number 8 was Window in the Bay.
Oh, boy.
Hey, it's very hot in here.
Oh, my gosh.
No, actually, it's pretty cool in here, isn't it?
No, it's hot.
Really?
Yeah, I'm starting to feel but I'm wearing a tie.
You're wearing
I'm wearing a
layers,
tie.
and I'm wearing shorts.
Yeah.
Ben, how are you?
I'm good.
Comfortable?
I'm always cold.
Should we talk about what
generally,
everybody's
so this is
wearing?
Should we
perfectly
have told
temperate.
Ben that this is a no shoes, no shirt, no service situation? Because
yeah.
he is barefoot.
All right, yeah. So Ben is barefoot with what kind of shorts would you describe those as?
Like board shorts?
Board shorts, yeah,
Yeah.
kind of grayish board shorts, and a nice purple. Is that a V-neck?
It's a nice.
It is a
it's a
V-neck.
purple
Yeah, that's a
V-neck,
purple
yeah.
V-neck.
Not too deep.
Yeah.
No, it's
Nick,
just the right.
Nick is wearing
thank you.
his clothes from work, so he's
Yeah.
got a teal. What kind of tie is that's
Teal.
No, that's
No.
gray. Sorry, you
It's just
describe
like
it.
it's like a slate blue tie.
Yeah. Well, I can't really tell.
I've got a
I'm the-
plaid shirt on. I got gray pants, and I got black Chuck Taylor.
What kind of socks are you wearing today?
Stormtrooper.
Stormtrooper socks.
Yeah.
I was not expecting those.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm wearing my
a little whimsy.
my black cargo shorts and
Yeah.
a very blue X-Men
Yes,
shirt.
It is. And Eric's X-Men shirts were recently on display on Twitter over at
That's true.
Dust versus Tweak on Twitter. You can see
the one
his
I'm wearing
collection.
now is kind of the Jim Lee era
Yeah.
of X-Men. So you
That's
got
the X-Men of my
Psylocke.
youth.
Yeah, a lot of Jim Lee's design made into the '90s cartoon.
Absolutely, it
So.
did. All right, number 6.
Number 7.
7.
Nice try. Undercurrents.
By.
Sorry, my dog tried to get into the room.
Oh.
By Nora Roberts. Echoes of a violent childhood reverberate to Zane Bigelow when he starts a new kind of family in North Carolina's Blue Ridge Mountains. A new kind of family.
I know what you're thinking, Ben. This is not part of the Deuce Bigelow franchise. We
that
covered this last
question was
week.
across.
It's
Yeah,
not
we
part
did,
of it.
yeah.
Also, I've never met Nora Roberts.
I met Rob Schneider.
Really?
No.
I met J.D. Robb.
I've never met a Zane.
I've never met a Zane.
A Zane?
I know a Xander. Sometimes Xander's
I knew
come
a
into
Zane.
the library.
I knew
yeah.
a Zane. Nice guy.
Okay.
Nice guy.
Yeah. Billy Zane
No, not Billy Zane.
from Titanic?
No.
Well, okay, I saw the
I
movie.
would say Billy Zane from Back to the Future, but
Who's he in Back to the Future?
He's in Biff's gang.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Elijah Wood's also in Back
I would
to the
say
Future.
Billy Zane
Part
from
2.
The Phantom.
Oh.
I've never seen The Phantom.
I've never seen it either. Three Nice Things.
Oh.
Okay. Number 5.
Number 6.
Sorry.
Summer of 69.
We're seeing Bryan Adams. We're seeing Bryan Adams this weekend.
By Ellen Hildebrand. The Levin family undergoes dramatic events with a son in Vietnam, a daughter in protest, and a dark secret hiding beneath the surface. Our son's not in Vietnam. He's been murdered by our daughter.
Beneath the surface.
No, I'm glad we were talking about this. Number 5, Thrawn. Treason.
Oh.
By Timothy Zahn.
As you recall, in our Timothy Zahn Spotlight
with your friend.
With my friend Jesse, none of us really cared that much about the first Thrawn book. Jesse highly recommended the sequel because it was a lot more with Thrawn and Vader. And now we've got maybe the cap on the trilogy here.
Let's see. A Star Wars saga. Grand Admiral Thrawn must choose between his sense of duty to the Chiss ascendancy and loyalty to the Empire.
I hear you. Yeah. Choices. I'm a fan of Thrawn. I liked it when they brought him into the canon with Rebels.
Yeah.
And now these new Zahn books.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's a character I really care to revisit, though. I like him in the Thrawn trilogy. Less
I
so
think
in
I'd
the
like
Thrawn
him
duology.
more
But...
if he had, like, a cool, like, blades attached to his, like, elbows. And he could just, like, elbow you with blades.
Elbow you
or
with
if he had,
blades.
like, fire that came out
I think
of
I'd
his
like him
eyes.
better if he ever succeeded in his plan.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be this expert strategist
That's true,
who just gets beaten.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Man.
Thrawn number 3.
4. Is this intentional now? Because I'm worried about you.
No, I said Thrawn number 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Number 4.
Number 3.
The New Girl.
By Zooey Deschanel.
By Danielle. Now you've got me all mixed up. By Daniel Silva.
What you doing?
Gabriel Allen, the chief of Israel intelligence, partners with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, whose daughter is kidnapped.
Look out. I've never read a Daniel Silva. Black Widow did crazy numbers, though, and I don't mean the new movie coming out. I mean the Daniel Silva's previous book was super popular.
What about that song?
With
our Black Widow, baby.
I never heard it. With our gang in Wellsville, it was very popular.
Uh-huh.
So I imagine this one will be pretty good.
Yeah. It's been out for 2 weeks. Number 3, 2 weeks on the list, The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead.
Oh, yeah.
Two boys.
A little too dark for my taste.
Did you read this?
I picked it up, and I was like, no, I'm unhappy enough.
2 boys respond to the horrors at Jim Crow-era reform school in ways that impact them decades later.
Yeah, Underground Railroad was an upsetting book, and this is on track to be more upsetting.
Really?
Yeah.
Goodness. Number 2, Where the Crawdads Sing. It's been here for 46 weeks.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Delia Owens, in a quiet town of the North Carolina coast in 1969, summer of 69, a young woman who survived alone in the marsh becomes a murder suspect.
Look out.
The man on the case?
Yeah.
Swamp Thing.
It's a Swamp Thing, baby.
Number 1, the thing that finally knocked down Where the Crawdads Sing for Nick.
It's going to be disappointing, isn't it?
Is One Good Deed by David Baldacci.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Nick doesn't like any books.
I do like books, but I don't like David Baldacci. Have you read David Baldacci?
I have not.
Did you ever watch the show King and Maxwell?
I
on
have
TNT?
no idea what that is.
Okay.
You ever watched the show Home Improvement?
That's irrelevant.
Oh, I thought we
were it's the writing. I don't like his writing, but he is our most popular author, so.
Would you like the books if they had more power?
Yes, I would. Yeah. You know what? My wife and I recently...
don't think so, Eric.
You has the beard. That's perfect. My wife and I recently watched the Home Improvement pilot. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was about to ask why.
It was on Hulu, and there it was. And I was like, let's do it. It held up.
Yeah.
It held up.
All 3 kids in that pilot?
All 3 kids. Yeah, Van Wilson.
You had a JTT poster on your wall when you were a kid, right?
I didn't, but my friend Alicia loved him and had him everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
That was the same thing growing up.
JTT.
Everybody was in love with JTT.
Everybody?
So.
Yeah. I did wish I could have the JTT hair, but my hair was too curly. I couldn't do it.
So you
couldn't do it.
More of the mark?
I don't know. I don't know what this curly... I'm more the Tim Allen hair, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, wait. No, that is number 1. I haven't read what it's about.
Oh, let me hear it. Let me hear it.
A World War II veteran on parole must find the real killer in a small town or face going back to jail. When is this set?
I don't know. At first, I was like, "Oh, he doesn't normally."
A 96-year-old man.
Historical fiction, but
I didn't kill anyone.
Maybe it is. Wow, that's ageist. But
sorry.
No, it's all right.
He's probably like, I didn't kill anyone, sir. 96 young.
He's Mickey Mouse. I guess given the time, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Is this Amos Decker? Is this Memory Man, or is this just standalone?
No, this can't be. This has to be an original thing.
Standalone. Okay.
It's called One Good Deed. Oh, you know what?
Deserves another.
Let's enlarge,
That's
enhance.
No, it's alright.
Nope, it just says a New York Times bestselling author.
Okay. So
I thought it would say like
that was all for naught.
yeah.
Okay.
So's most things in life when you really get down to brass tacks.
Ben, do you have any impromptu little riffs that you can do for just a general
A
segment?
segment that we're about to do.
Yeah, just any segment.
Oh, he's picking up the
Let's
guitar.
do it.
This
Let's
is
hear it.
happening.
Okay.
Here it goes.
So this is just a
You're
general.
gonna have to like probably.
You're putting the capo on,
Wow.
no less.
No,
Look
he
at
I'm
that.
trying to think of something.
He knows
that
what
I
he's
can...
doing. All right, let me hear it.
Hold on.
You
Okay.
put the capo on the
This
fifth
is live.
fret, everybody.
This is happening.
Anytime.
Nah, I don't know. I lost it.
No,
Sorry.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
was in the
We'll-
lyrics.
We'll workshop it.
I
We'll
don't know.
workshop it. Oh, good. Okay, well, today, as we mentioned at the top, we're going to be talking about reading habits. We've talked about this. We've talked about reading habits before, just like how you like to read. You know,
Right.
if you're a binge reader, if you like to
In the bed, on
yeah,
a hammock.
wherever. Here we're talking about what's going on in the old ears
Yeah.
when you're
What are
reading.
your ear pops licking?
Yeah,
No.
ear pops licking.
Your ear tongues. What are the music pops your ear tongues are licking?
Let's pivot away from tongue.
All right.
So that's what we're going to talk about. We put this out to our listeners, and we got a variety of feedback, including I don't listen to anything.
Yeah.
We had REO Speedwagon in there. We had country. We had just a whole variety of things. So we were not able to come to a consensus of what people in general like. So let's see if we can do it right here.
Woo!
Let's hash it out. So Eric, you already kind of gave us a little peek into what you're reading at the beginning. Ben, what about you? What do you do? No, I'm going to come back to you. I just want to know.
Well, typically I don't like listening to anything.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
this is gonna
Okay.
be.
All right. That's all right.
Yeah, I just the kind of music that I listen to on my own time tends to be more lyric focused.
Okay.
Like I like listening to like folk alternative or like
Cool.
hip hop, like hip hop.
Corn.
No. So yeah, when I listen to music, I like to try and focus on the words, and that's just distracting if you're trying to read a book. So yeah, if I ever have music playing while I'm listening or while I'm reading a book, it's got to be instrumental.
Okay.
So, but I don't seek it out.
You don't.
Yeah.
Okay. See, my wife's the same way. She doesn't like it at all, even instrumental. It's never really bothered me. Like sometimes I do listen to music with words, and it doesn't throw me off. She hates that. But I always do like to have.
You also read in the car, don't you?
Yeah, I can
You're
read in the car.
obnoxious.
I can read in the car.
Yeah.
But I don't. I prefer it. Like if I know I'm gonna sit down and read, I always have music going. You know, if I'm just reading on the fly or something, I might not. But I definitely do like to have it. So tell me a little bit about yours.
For me, really, it started when I was getting into college and starting college and all that, because I was easily distracted.
Okay.
If you didn't know that about me, that what? Yeah, I get distracted easily if I'm reading just quietly, if I was writing a paper quietly. So I started listening to the music from Overclocked Remix, which is primarily instrumental based, but I mean there are some lyric ones. But what it did is it gave my brain a secondary thing to focus on while I was doing like the main thing. And I don't know if that's true or if I just if it's a placebo effect, but it kind of put me in almost like a deprivation tank kind of situation, putting the headphones on. So that helped me starting with writing papers, and then just got me focused on reading. Like most people, I have a hard time listening to things with lyrics while reading or writing. It's just that's where I fall apart. But I listen to a bunch of different instrumental stuff now when I read. Okay. So
no, I think that makes perfect sense that it's a focus aid, because if there's nothing else, if it's just crickets and sounds and things, it's easy to get extracted. But if you sort of if you're combining those in your head as a more full experience, I think that makes perfect sense that it would help you focus. I feel like mine is maybe a little bit more intricate, because I try to match whatever the music I'm listening to what I'm reading. So I have a bunch of different playlists that I like to listen to.
Yeah.
So are you like strictly OC remix?
I mean, I just have so many songs on my computer. It's like, thousands and thousands of tracks. Okay. So usually I'll just hit that.
So you just hit like shuffle. You're not like, you don't have a cultivated.
Well, it depends. Okay. So when I read Neuromancer for our book club, there's an album Overclocked Remix put out for the Deus Ex games, which is a cyberpunk series.
Okay.
And so I just took that album and put that on loop while reading Neuromancer, so I could get that like cyberpunk Blade Runner kind of feel, and it was great.
Yeah, see, that's more what I like to do. So I have a bunch of different playlists, and as our listeners know, I do read a lot of like series and genre and things. So if I have a Star Wars playlist for my Star Wars books, I have a huge Trek playlist,
right?
And I always love it. Does this ever happen to you? Like when you're listening to something and it like syncs up perfectly with what's happening in your book. See, I love that.
That happened when I was reading the last volume of Star Wars Legacy years ago. That was like 2012 or 2013. And I had my Star Wars playlist on, and I can't remember the track, but it was kind of like it might have been like the Emperor's death, or it might have been Padme's funeral. It was like a kind of a somber piece.
Okay.
And I don't want to spoil how Star Wars Legacy ends, but it was kind of like this, the big explosions were over, the characters were left picking up the pieces, and it just worked like perfectly, and I was like, this is great. So.
Yeah, I try to I have a lot of, I guess what I primarily listen to is like film score. That's my instrumental playlists do have like other instrumental tracks, like McCartney has a decent amount of instrumental tracks and that sort of thing, so I do mix those in there, but I try to pair it with what I'm doing. Like if I'm reading graphic novels or something, I have a superhero playlist that I like to listen to. But it is, I find that I usually read a lot more if I have music going as well. You know what I mean? It just, it feels like a more just
cinematic experience.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're right. It's like it's a multimedia kind of thing. I find that I can sort of get carried away and, swept away with the story if I've got kind of a soundtrack going along with it. But
I don't know how I read World War Z the way I did, because I read it while listening to music with lyrics.
Okay.
Weirdly, the Postal Service, which is not the kind of music you would listen to while reading World War Z, but they do have a really creepy track on there. I think it's called National Anthem. And I remember that song was on while reading World War Z, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to bed. And it was spooky.
Yeah.
So so in college, in maybe my like second year of college, some friends got me like a video game chair.
Okay.
One of those like V kind of shaped rocking chair kind of things.
Speakers,
it has speakers in the back. And I could hook my iPod into that. And so I would just like go sit on my chair with that, and that's how I would listen to it instead of just the headphones. So I had like this cool little rocking chair and the music. That's it.
I do like, so that's another question. Do you like headphones? Like headphones versus just like ambient like room music?
Honestly, I still do keep the music like down. If it's too loud, I might get distracted. Even if it's very atmospheric music.
Yeah.
So like, but if I'm in the living room, I'll just put on YouTube using the Roku or something, or put on Spotify with the playlist. If I'm in here with my computer, I tend not to use headphones too much, unless like I'm in a situation where headphones have to be. But normally I just prefer it on. So
I kind of like headphones. I like how it dampens everything else and puts it right in there. Kind of puts you in the zone. But Ben, for you think it's just distracting?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I have that same thing where if music is playing while I'm reading, I don't want it to be right in my ears, because then I'm not going to be able to focus.
Right.
Like I'm reading the book too. But I don't know, like just hearing you guys talk about this is making me want to at least try a little something.
So my wife's a music major, which means
she's an adult now.
She's an adult now, but when she was in college, she was a music major, and so she had to go.
Say she's a music teacher.
She's a music teacher. So in college, she had to go to a lot of concerts that the students performed or other things.
Boy.
Like so, a lot of
I remember those days.
College
like symphonic winds.
Yeah, the symphonic winds would put on concerts. Jazz concerts would happen. And she would have to go because she had to go to a certain amount, which meant I had to go.
Right.
But if we tend to sit in like the top balcony, and so I would just sit there reading graphic novels while that was happening, and it just kind of worked perfectly.
That's fun.
So I read a pretty dark volume of The Walking Dead. There's not many other kinds of Walking Dead while listening to the symphony there.
Fun fact, when I had to go to those concerts, my friend Steve, who I saw the Rolling Stones with, he and I would sit in the balcony and play gin rummy while we listened to the music. And it was like, what great background gin rummy music it was. So is it strictly this though? I mean, or do you ever listen to like film score or anything like that? Or
Yeah,
just general?
I think I used to more.
Okay.
Because on my original like iTunes and everything, I had so many film scores, and so I could kind of like cultivate something. It like with Batman film scores or something. If I was reading the comics, there's sometimes that would get too distracting, or it was too many of the exciting tracks would play in a row, and I'm like, Batman's just talking about his relationship right now. He doesn't need this, dun 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 dun. I didn't do too much of that. I remember listening to the GoldenEye soundtrack while reading, what was it, Casino Royale.
Okay. So
there was that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to do more film scores, and I think I kind of veered away from that a little bit. If I'm reading Star Wars, I'm gonna put on Star Wars music because there's just so much.
Yeah.
There's 9 movies or whatever it is now. So.
Yeah, I really like it. I just think it's
Yeah.
For me, it just makes it a more full.
If it's something huge like Star Wars or Star Trek like that, just franchise spanning, and there's just so much music there, I might as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, like when I was reading Battlefield Earth, for example, which was 1,000 pages of nonsense, I listened to a lot of like just sci-fi in particular. Like I had a sci-fi playlist.
You didn't listen to Space Jazz.
I did not listen to Space Jazz, nor did I listen to the soundtrack to the film Space Jam.
Oh,
but,
okay. Yeah.
I didn't listen to either of those, but yeah, it is like it helps to flesh out, I think, the story sometimes. Let me ask you guys this: if you're gonna read, do you prefer to have like a long time to devote to it? Like, do you like to sit down and be like, I know I'm gonna have like 30 minutes to do this, or are you okay with pick up, put down?
If I'm listening to music, that means I'm planning to do it for a while.
You're settled in,
so at least like an hour,
yeah,
or so, because that's. I mean, if I'm only doing it for 5 minutes, I'm not. Listening to anything.
Yeah. See, I would, which drives my wife's crazy. Like, I'm only going to be here for a few minutes, but I've got to get the music.
No, I need to know that I'm like on the couch for a little bit, committed. Or I'm in this chair. Yeah,
committed.
So,
what about you? Are you a binge reader? Or are you?
It depends on the book.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Most of the time, I like. There have been times in my life where I have a set time where I go, okay, I'm gonna read this every morning while I drink coffee or whatever, and that I like. But typically, I usually read for about 30 minutes to an hour.
This is why I like to have a novel and a graphic novel or a comic book going at the same time, so I can be like, I know I'm going to get interrupted, so I'll comic book this for a little while.
That's what I did this summer. Like I cycled through 3 or 4 different types of books for. But I was gonna ask you, like, so you listen to like film scores and these Star Wars and Star Trek, but what do you listen to when you read a smaller book or like a smaller focus story like House on Mango Street?
Oh yeah. Yeah, see that sometimes I'll pick a specific like album or something that I know is good, like music that's a little bit softer.
I guess because you can listen to lyrics, you just have the whole world of music right there.
Yeah, well, I like to when I just read that Being John Lennon a while back, and that one I think also because I know that story well that it was easier to kind of go back and forth. But that one I had made a playlist of like early like 50s and skiffle and that kind of thing. So like they'd mention one and I'd kind of scroll over to that and let that one play, which was really cool because it felt like
I couldn't do that.
Like a different thing.
Goodness.
Yeah, there's a couple albums that I have, like the soundtrack to the movie Passengers, for example, is all really like melancholy and quiet. Yeah. So some of the different things like that you can kind of zero in on.
Yeah, sometimes taking like a film score, the music, like Steve Jobs, which has like a really interesting soundtrack. Like every now and then I'll put that on because it has kind of this like 80s bleep and bloop kind of soundtrack. A lot of like normally I'll just hit my overclocked playlist and press play, but sometimes I'll like either look for like an original video game soundtrack specifically because I think it has the right vibe, or pick like a specific game. Like I'll just type in like Donkey Kong Country 2 and let that music play because I know that kind of tone is going to match.
Thematically, it works.
But what was I just about? But a lot of the people who remix on Overclocked Remix, they make their own original music.
Okay.
And so that will kind of lead to me to like some more electronica. One of the remixers on OCR goes by Big Giant Circles, and he has one album called There Came an Echo, which is the very kind of sci-fi, but also has some nice vocal performances in there that isn't lyrics but background
Are we gonna get a sample of his stuff on the?
And Big Giant,
Off the
yeah,
Books
we're gonna
episode?
hear his one of his Ocarina of Time.
Okay, so
but
keep an eye out for that. SoundCloud.com/ all the books.
so like he does the video game, but listening to like their non-video game stuff too can sometimes really match that up. But yeah, unlike you, I just can't. I don't know how I did it that one time with World War Z. I might have been able to when I was younger, but it just isn't anything I can do anymore.
I think too it helps if it's if you're listening to old favorites that you
Yeah,
know so well
that's
that
true.
you're not like
So
they become second nature. So
when I was reading the second to last volume of The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, I was listening to the By the Way album by the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the same time. So this is when I was 17, so my brain must have had more going on.
yeah, it was spongier.
Yeah, it was spongier. And now, like, Sandman by Neil Gaiman and the By the Way album by the Chili Peppers are, like, linked in my brain. Like, looking at those books or listening to the music, I still get, like, snippets of the other one. And
That's cool, though, when that happens.
Yeah.
When it's sort of, these two become together.
yeah, and the same thing with, like, Cowboy Bebop is kind of linked with that. So now, like, that album is linked with these things. But I don't know how I read that comic while listening to the Chili Peppers. So that's crazy.
Well,
I could go back.
That's something that you probably don't want to get into this, but that's something that that can be really effective in novels as well. When the novel will have sort of a set list that goes with it.
Okay. Do you listen to the music that books? Because now that's a kind of a trend. Books putting in playlists. I remember first seeing it with Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
At the end of each volume, he would say what he was listening while doing that volume. Do you listen to the music?
I did when I read your book.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I do like that when there's a chance to do that. I think authors don't do that unless they're thoughtful and intentional about it. So it wouldn't. I think that I guess I would trust the author if they're saying like this pairs well with that. Then I would believe them and listen to it. Yeah. So when that does come up, and it's not super common, but I think it's becoming more and more. Yeah. I do like to do it. Yeah. If it says.
I can't say that I can't even think of a
almost
time when I've even
Rowell had, but maybe I'm wrong about that. So yeah,
I'm trying to think.
Authors will put out
in Eleanor and Park. Is there?
They talk about the Smiths and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, okay, so if you're reading like Eleanor and Park, do you then go listen to the Smiths because that's all they're talking about?
I'm sure I've done it for books like that, but it's it's like I'm gonna read this and then do this.
I did after Eleanor and Park. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get into the Smiths.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Yeah. Stephen King and the Ramones. He brings up the Ramones quite a bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of authors will just put out like a playlist of music they were listening to when they were writing. Yeah, and that's always interesting. Like, but I don't know.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like it. I think the written word and music pair really well together. Yeah. I think for me it enhances the experience.
There's a kid's book. I think it's called Blackbird Fly. Hey, do you remember seeing this?
No.
The cover has like a girl and a guitar. I think she's in like middle school, but each chapter starts with what Beatles song she's listening to or what she's into at the time.
I think I've seen that, yeah.
So even these kids' books are getting into it, even if it's, Beatles music. So
yeah, I don't like the way you said.
No, like it's about a middle schooler.
Yeah,
but she's even though it's a middle school book, they're still saying like, here's some Beatles songs for you too. Yeah. So, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So
there's what we learned from our online responses and just from our conversation here. There's a pretty big variety of what people like to listen to when they read. So Ben, thanks for joining us for the spotlight.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So our next episode. Our next Off the Books episode is an interview.
Oh, this week?
Yeah.
Yes. So because so much of the music I listen to when I read is Overclocked Remix, we're interviewing, he goes by Lion Tamer. He's Larry OG. He's one of the communications... I can't remember his full title, so I'm going to cut that part out. Okay. But basically, if you're on Twitter and you're following Overclocked Remix, there's a good chance he's the one tweeting for OCR, and he'll give his full title and his full responsibilities on the interview. But we talk about kind of the origins of the site, milestones that the site went through, either big names and video game composers coming in or remixers going on to be big names, and he talks about what he's been reading as well. So it was a lot of fun. And then the one after that is a pretty hefty track playlist where I've got a list of some examples of the site I'd like to like to share with you podcasts.
Nice.
Remember when we called everyone podcasts?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Bring it
something
back.
else. Yeah.
Bring it back. Eric and I were at Heritage Days in Angelica over the weekend, and we got to stop by the Angelica Community Radio Station. So if you're listening to us on 92.7, you're going to have to click over to soundcloud.com/allthebooks and listen to these Off the Books episodes because they're not going to air on the radio.
That's
so
true.
you can find us over soundcloud.com/allthebooks, iTunes, Spotify, where else?
Yeah.
Really, anywhere.
Everywhere else.
Anywhere you find your podcast, you can find it. And hey, while you're there, maybe you could rate, review, share. It's helpful to get eyes on the podcast and find it that way.
What do we got coming up?
The world's our oyster. I mean, we've had a lot of interviews, and our space theme with Universe of Stories has dictated a lot of the stories that we've done. So now I see a Lonely Hearts book club coming up.
Oh yeah.
We're getting into our fall with a big publishing bubble coming up. So I see some sexy new books episodes, and maybe a few more interviews that we can do.
We're all done with our summer reading program.
That's right.
At the library.
Yes, we are.
So the library's a little bit quieter, but we're still pretty busy today.
Yeah, yes, we were.
I called all the winners of our teen prizes, and they came in fast.
A lot of excitement.
I made those phone calls, and they were there as soon as I put the receiver down. So
for our book news segment, I feel like we're kind of or not book news, but library news segment. We're in the kind of the slowdown.
It'll be quiet for like a week or two, and then we'll have a historical week.
Yeah, history weeks in September. We've got our job fair on August 10th. So if you're looking for a job in the area, stop down to the library. We'll have lots of employers there. I already mentioned the book clubs. We're reading Asunder right now, and after that's going to be like Water for Chocolates. We're doing Catcher in the Rye for banned book weeks in September. And Eric already mentioned History Week. Of course, we have our regular slew of movies in the auditorium. So davidahowlibrary.org. You can see the calendar right there. Everything exciting coming up.
Woo!
Ben, are you about ready to play us out? Because we're winding down. I like the live music aspect to it. It's gives all the books a coffee house.
Can you play "Riding the Storm Out" by REO Speedwagon?
No, we don't have the rights.
I cannot.
Oh,
we don't have the rights. But that was a listener response that they liked listening to REO Speedwagon.
That's true.
I like the way you were able to tie it in there.
Riding the
You don't
storm
play the whole
out.
thing to play out, right? You just play like the last
Just a little
couple
bump,
of-
bump, 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 wow.
Waiting for the fallout.
Yeah, that's coming.
But normally I say something right after, and then I have to cut it out.
Yeah.